Today, we're going to talk about a story that really stuck with me. It's all about a single digital action, something that started off as just a prank, but ended up having these really personal, very real consequences. It's a powerful lesson, about technology, our communities, and what it really means to be a responsible citizen in this digital world.
And this whole story really boils down to one crucial question. When does a so-called tech prank cross the line and become a genuinely harmful act? As we're about to see, that line can be way blurrier than you might think.
So, to understand that line, let's meet the person at the very center of our story. His name is Vishal. He's an engineering student, and in his mind, he's just about to have a little bit of harmless fun. So, who is Vishal? Well, he's smart, he's totally comfortable with technology, and like a lot of us, he takes advantage of the free resources at his local community center. The public computer, the free Wi-Fi. For him, using this space is just a totally normal part of his routine. But one day, Vishal decides he's gonna play a prank. He turns to his friends, he's laughing, and he says, "Let's see who uses it now." Those words, they really tell you everything about his mindset, right? It wasn't just about playing a game. It was about deliberately messing up a public resource for a laugh. And this prank of his was pretty methodical. First, he starts loading up the public machine with all these games it was never meant to handle, just clogging it up. Second, he goes into the system settings and completely locks it with a new password that nobody else knows. And then he takes it from digital to physical. He actually deliberately breaks the enter key. The machine is now totally, completely useless. But an act like that? It never just happens in a vacuum. The very next day, the unseen consequences of Vishal's harmless little bit of fun started to ripple out. And this is where our second character enters the story. She's an elderly widow, and she has come to the community center for a very specific and very important reason. For her, this isn't some place to just hang out. It's a place to get absolutely essential things done. And this right here, this just perfectly illustrates the heart of the whole issue. Just look at this contrast. Vishal was doing it for fun, for a quick laugh. The woman, though, she was there to submit a vital pension form online. For her, it wasn't about fun at all. It was about survival, and she was on a critical deadline. Let's just walk through her day for a second. She gets there in the morning, and she's relying on this free service because, hey, she doesn't have the money for a cyber cafe. But right away, she finds out the computer is locked, and the key is literally broken. The operator tries to help, but Vishal's password has locked them out completely. She waits all day. But by the end of it, her deadline is passed. And now her pension payment is going to be significantly delayed. And here it is. This is the real gut punch. When Vishal found out about this woman's struggle, he was just hit with this massive wave of regret. Because she wasn't some stranger. She was his own family's domestic helper. The person his anonymous prank directly harmed was someone he knew. Someone whose livelihood was now seriously impacted by what he did. You see, Vishal's story is super personal, but it points to a much bigger idea. These public computers, they aren't just machines sitting on a desk. For so many people in our communities, they are an absolute lifeline. I mean, just think about who actually relies on these tools. It's the student who doesn't have internet at home and needs to do research for school. It's senior citizens, just like the woman in our story, trying to navigate these complicated government forms. It's someone desperately looking for a job, or another student who just needs to print out an exam ticket. For them, these resources aren't just a convenience. They are bridging a critical digital gap. And all of this brings us to the whole concept of ownership. When we use these public tools, whose are they really? And what's our responsibility to them and, to each other? This gets to a really crucial point. These public computers are what we call digital infrastructure. They aren't free gifts that just appeared out of nowhere. They are tools funded by taxpayer money, our money, for the benefit of the entire community. So when you damage them, you're not just breaking a thing, you're damaging something that belongs to all of us. There's a really powerful idea here. Showing that you can break a system, that's not a display of talent. It's actually a sign of a weak mentality. Real intelligence, real strength, lies in building things up and helping other people, not tearing things down for a cheap laugh. So you see, this story isn't just about Vishal. It's a lesson for every single one of us who ever sits down at a public computer in a library or a school or a community center. It's about what you do when it's your turn at the keyboard. So what does being a good digital citizen actually look like in practice? Well, it kind of comes down to 3 simple habits. First, handle with care. This hardware is shared, and it can be pretty fragile. Second, use it with purpose. Don't be that person who clogs up a machine with malware or a bunch of random software. And third, and this is so important, leave it ready for the next person. The goal is to leave the machine in the same or maybe even better condition than you found it.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. It's really easy to feel anonymous when you're using public property, right? To think that nobody's watching. But the real question isn't about who sees you, it's about who you are. While that public property might feel anonymous, is your integrity.
एक कदम विकसित भारत की ओर।